Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte's been signed. Everyone's going, oh, wow, oh, good. Now we've got a fight to look forward to. It's in April. It's nuts, right? How media's changed, Before we'd find out when the fights were happening, when they'd been signed, and then they would talk about the fight. Now, half the talk seems to be about, but this person wants this in the contract, this person wants this, and da-da-da, and this, and it's all politics and contractual stuff. And this is one of the problems in boxing. There's so much contractual, restrictions, and so much politics going on that, we don't get the big fights. You remember, I don't know, it was about a year ago or something, and they said, Tyson Fury has signed to fight Anthony Joshua, which was the fight we all wanted really as fans, for the undisputed title in Saudi Arabia. And then even Tyson announced it, I think, and then nothing happened. People are getting more excited about negotiation than fights. It seems like, every single boxing channel has been talking about this negotiation, even though they have not seen the contractual negotiations, they have not been party to that. But that's all they've been talking about, just regurgitating stuff you've heard in news. It's boring, man. I haven't watched on any of them, once in a while I watch one just to find out if something's changed, but only now allegedly has it been signed. And I say allegedly because there've been plenty of big fights that have been announced and nothing happened, right? And Fury Whyte, it's not a bad fight, right? It's not a bad fight, but it's not the big fight. We want to see the big fight was Fury Joshua. I don't think it'll ever happen. It'll be like Hatton vs Witter on a heavyweight scale. It won't happen. And that's what we really want to see. Even now, Joshua vs Fury would be more interesting because even though Fury lost his last fight, Joshua lost his last fight, with all the background and the build-up, it would be massive. Whyte, I'm not hating on him at all. He deserves his payday. But all that fanning around was just pathetic and pointless. And, Whyte, you got to remember, so what happened, Whyte? Well, last fight he won a COVID-destroyed Alex Povetkin. He was, 41. Yeah, and he beat him up. But you could see in the weigh-in, Povetkin's muscles were just not trimmed. He was not in shape. That was a payday fight. And the fight before that, he got ironed out flat by Povetkin, in boxing terms, a pensioner. So it's not like that exciting. And these days, it's not like the old days where they might defend their titles several times a year, especially with the heavyweights. It's like they fight once a year, once a year, or like twice a year at the most, and then they're active. It's kind of depressing for boxing. So now Tyson is allegedly going to fight Whyte. It's going to be I'll watch it, of course. It's a big heavyweight fight, but it's not really what we want to see. And I can't believe that Fury has got that many fights left in him. He's in his 30s. He is. He has. He gets fat between fights sometimes. I don't think he's going to age well. I remember in the early days, you'd watch him boxing. You think this is the oldest 20-year-old I've ever seen in my life. He already looked 45 then. But I think he will have enough to beat Whyte. So as I said, it's an interesting fight. Whyte's always dangerous, but it's not really the big fight we wanted to see. There's not many big fights in the heavyweight division. Usyk, Joshua, so they've been fanning about as well. And, they reckon now it's going to happen in June or something. Well, that's all very well. I don't know why. I think Hearn wants just to juice the last payday out of Joshua, because he knows Joshua is shot. His confidence is shot. He's gun shy, you know. He doesn't look good. And what, they want to sling him back in with Usyk, a guy who embarrassed him basically in front of his home fans, battered him. I don't know, man. I don't mind that fight, but I'm sick of the time scale of boxing these days. It's like, we got a contractual rematch, so that takes another year out of these guys' career, right? So instead of being able to fight someone else, they have to wait and negotiate and agree on contracts and then sign a new fight, and it's a year later already. It's just bullshit, man. I'd rather see, from a fan's standpoint, Fury Joshua, right? Usyk can beat up someone else. Maybe Usyk can fight White, and then the winners fight each other. Obviously, if the worst comes to the worst, Fury fights White, and the winner fights the winner of Usyk, Joshua, then that's a good fight. But it's the time limit, man. These guys are gonna be like 50 soon. It's the delay that bugs me. It's the fact that they don't make enough fights per year, and then there's the Ukraine problem, right? So Usyk's country is allegedly, if you believe the fake news, about to be invaded by Russia. So what happens then? Does Usyk have to sign up to fight for Ukraine? I don't know, man. I mean, that they wouldn't risk him, surely, because of his name, but it's definitely something to consider. And also, Ukraine is very divided. It's not a singular, like most countries, right? The borders are defined by outsiders, right? And there are plenty of people on the Ukrainian nationality who are Russians, or they feel like Russians. They want to be part of Russia, It's the same thing with every country around the world. These borders are just defined by politicians and outsiders. It's all nonsense. So back to the fight, Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury. What will happen? Well, I mean, if Tyson's in shape, and he's been quite good at, keeping himself together within the fight. He doesn't look overweight. I believe he should have too much for Dillian. Dillian's been in some tough fights. He's been knocked out a few times. I think Fury, Whyte will go for it early especially, but he'll end up being dominated and I would say stopped between the mid-rounds and let's say between 6 and 9, I would suggest. But it's not, it's not an ideal fight. Good luck to both of them. The fight we really want to see, though, is not happening at this point. Sorry, the fights, plural. We don't want to see. I mean, if you're a big boxing fan, you either want to see Fury Joshua or Fury Usyk for the total undisputed title. I'd rather see Fury Joshua because Joshua is a mug. He's a muppet. He has cheated his way. I mean, if anyone thinks that Joshua is not smashing the juice or got a TUE or the HGH, I mean, look at all the weird bone growths on his body, right? If anyone thinks that he is like clean, they must be nuts. And he was gifted the title originally against Martin, and he was gifted the Olympic gold medal when he lost like 3 fights. He definitely lost against Savon and Camarelle, and very possibly against Ditchko. He's a golden boy of British boxing. He's been given every advantage in the book, which is why I hate all this I had it hard, didn't it, fam? I was growing up on the streets, blood. No, you weren't, you muppet. You grew up in a part of Watford that was quite middle class, that was safe, Don't pretend that ghetto rubbish, man. You've had every gift thrown your way, mate. So I just want to see Tyson. It'd be nice to see Tyson Fury fight Joshua if it ever happens, because even just for the build-up, man, he will rinse Joshua. Yeah, he will rinse Joshua, and his skills should be way too much. But like I said, Hearn's looking for the cash out now for Joshua. He's struggling financially. Yeah, the DAZN experiment has yielded huge losses, billions. It might work eventually, but they were hoping to get some real big football action on their platform. They didn't. They didn't buy BT Sport, and boxing will not sustain DAZN. Sorry, DAZN. I call it DAZN because it's DAZN, like dazed and stupid. But yeah, DAZN as they call it. Without another big sport, they will not survive. And yeah, anyway, peace, guys. Peace.